Geeks with Beards. Podcast.
I'm sorry for all the pain I caused. I don't know how I did it. I only remember feeling completely alone. Empty. Just endless nothingness.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to part 2 of our coverage of House of M on the Geeks with Beards podcast. Today, we will finish it up reading issues 5 through 8. But before we get into this epic conclusion, Shaun, what's been going on since our last episode?
Well, we've been getting the band back together to finish out my last run of shows. And entertainment-wise, I think the only thing I've been watching is we're on the last season of Sailor Moon Super S on the last disc, so Sweet. We should have that finished up. That's about it. What about you?
Let's see. Movie-wise, I bought the new Deathstalker movie, but I ain't watched it yet. I've had it for a week, but I ain't watched it yet. And then I bought the two Arnold, the original Conan movies on Blu-ray. $12. I figure I'm gonna get them. Why not? Upgrade from DVD. I got some new comics. I hadn't read any of them yet. I just got them the other day. This past Saturday, actually, I was a guest on J-Man's YouTube channel.
Oh, sweet. And
we were talking about the first 11 episodes of the original He-Man and Masters of the Universe cartoon. Now, J-Man is doing every Saturday. He's alternating, as of right now, he's alternating between the original mini comics that came with the toys one weekend, and then the next weekend he's covering the original animated series.
That's cool.
And I'm pretty sure if I remember what he told me right, he's going to basically go through all of them. She-Ra, New Adventures, all that stuff like that. So that was really cool to talk to him about He-Man, stuff like that. And there is I don't have the link like memorized or anything, but there is on YouTube is where we watched them at. And you can look on there, it's like for free. You can get like all the episodes for the first season or whatever on there. And but that was fun. That's what I've been doing. I think it's been about it, I believe, since last time. Let me think. Yeah, I think it's been about it.
That works.
Yep. And I may, in the future, go back on there again, talk some more episodes of the cartoon as well. So we'll see. It's fun to do that. I like doing stuff like that, yeah. So we will jump into this. And at the end of this, Shaun will give us the aftermath of what happened after the House of M, and it was a doozy. I remember a little bit of it after rereading these last 4 issues. Like, this was a doozy. And it probably ran for what? I mean, well, that particular specific aftermath stuff, it probably ran for what, almost a year? Probably? Or more, maybe?
Just the initial aftermath, yes, but then the repercussions.
It just kept going for a while, didn't it? Yeah.
We'll get into it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, we're going to jump into it. Issue 5. And we open with Emma and Layla inside Layla's head. And she's like, where are we? Emma's like, well, this is inside your head. She's like, my head? Well, it's a visual representation. Basically, what you see is it's just a brain. And she's like, yeah, this is a visual representation of what, your head looks like on the inside, your psychic self. She's like, I'm trying to figure out how you do what you do. How are you able to wake people up from this reality and make them remember their past lives? Like, how are you able to do that? He's like, I can't even do that. And Emma goes on to tell her, she says, look, you're special. And she says, and you're also a conundrum. And that she's like, you're going to have to grow up faster than you want to, because whether you believe it or not, you are very important. You're going to have to use your powers to band the heroes together to try to fix what Wanda did. And she said, that all this has happened, this whole world, this whole screwed up world that we're living in at this moment, was all because of one single selfish, deluded mutant. I'm like, yes!
Hey.
And she's like, but we got to try to put it back together, and you're the key because you're the only one that can wake up the heroes and make them realize what's, reality and what's not. And Layla's just like, because she's, I would say at least 14 maybe?
That's the age I got.
13 or 14, something like that.
Early teenager.
So basically we see kind of a montage in a way of them going around and finding the other heroes, and Layla is waking them up. We first see Parker, and he's with Gwen and their child, Uncle Ben, and I think it was Aunt May, right? I believe.
Yes.
Was the other, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the city, and they're, just spending time together as a family or whatever. And they show up, and Layla wakes him up. He wakes Parker up, and it's cool. The visualization of it is her eyes kind of glow green, and then their eyes glow green, letting you know that she's made a connection with them. And as soon as Parker is awoken, you see, and it's a great splash page, like a 2-page splash of all of his arch enemies. Basically, his memories all coming back to him. You got Green Goblin and Fisk and Venom and Doc Ock and Gwen dying, and just all this stuff just rushes back into his head. And it breaks him, really kind of freaks him out. So he runs, he just runs off, and you see him climbing up a building. And Gwen is like, what? Who are you? What just happened? And Emma basically kind of gives her suggestions like, go to the park and enjoy yourself. So they leave. And they're just like, well, wait a minute. What the hell? Now he ran away. And Logan's like, it's okay. I'll take care of it. So Logan goes after Parker and tries to talk to him to kind of calm him down. And he goes to a rooftop, and Parker, he's confused. He's saddened. He just doesn't understand at the moment what's going on. He tells Logan, he's like, when we find Magneto and his kids, he's like, I'm going to kill them with my bare hands. And I'm like, damn. Because I forgot at this time, like, kind of where Parker was as far as that goes. Because Parker's usually the one who wants to save everybody, and unfortunately it causes him a lot of pain because he can't save everybody all the time. But I forgot about this when he says that. He's like, I'm going to kill him. And Logan's like, don't even worry about it. He's like, you won't have time to. He's like, so I'll take care of him. I'm like, look, boys, calm down. But I get it, because Gwen was his first love. He blames himself for her dying, pretty much. And for this to be given to him and snatched away again, I can understand his anger. I really can. I mean, I've not went through that, thank goodness, but I can see where the anger came from, for sure. Then we see them go around, and they're waking up the other heroes. We see them go wake up Kitty Pryde, Doctor Strange, Ms. Marvel, Tony, and poor Tony, he's like already getting bombarded with like reporters and all that shit like that. And he gets woke up. He's like, what the Matt Murdock and She-Hulk, but she's not She-Hulk yet. It's just, what is her name? Is it
Jennifer?
Jennifer.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. I forgot her name. They're just Jennifer. I think they're walking out like a courthouse or something like that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And they're all getting woke up. Well, the last one that they're getting ready to go do was Steve Rogers, but Scott stops Layla and says, whoa. He's like, power down. He's like, we're leaving this one alone.
Because he's old.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. And she's basically like, well, why? And he's like, he wouldn't be any good to us this way, because he's older, he's chubby, if they woke him up, this is how he would be woke up, in this form. Yeah. He wouldn't be in his original younger form. He would be in this form. And I thought about that. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, I guess Cap had always wanted to be able to grow old or something like that, but I don't think he wanted to be a chubby man, and Wanda made him an old chubby man. Was that truly his heart's desire, to be an old chubby feller?
I mean, he's happy, he's healthy, he's eating.
Is he? I don't know if he's really
eating well.
He's eating well, but is he happy though? I don't know.
He doesn't know no better.
I hated that we didn't get any real interaction with him in these 8 issues. Except for that first little bit.
I don't know if there's any of the tie-ins that had him. I don't recall any, but
yeah,
that would have been cool.
Yeah, I mean, now we will as we go through here, but as this version, we don't. It'd been kind of cool to kind of see what his mindset was, So they leave Steve Rogers alone, and they gather and discuss what's going to be going on, what's going to happen. And they ain't got no time at all to collect themselves and figure things out. Then the Red Guard attacks them. And if you remember the Red Guard, that was Logan's team from S.H.I.E.L.D. Had Rogue and Nightcrawler, Mystique, Toad. And I found out, I forgot who it was, because I remember on the last episode, I didn't know who that Agent Drew was.
Yes.
It's Spider-Woman.
That's right, I forgot.
I forgot who told me that, and I apologize. It might have been Derrick. It might have been somebody else. But
Her name's Jessica, too, isn't it?
I've been damned. I
think
I wrote it down somewhere.
Okay, we'll get to it.
I'm pretty sure they said that she was Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman.
So I apologize. I can't credit you at the moment, but I appreciate you letting me know that because I had no idea who Agent Drew was.
Jessica Drew.
Jessica Drew. Okay, there we go. So the Red Guard attacks them. But they are, because they're just all confused, they just got woke up, they're all confused. So they start fighting, and Rogue goes to touch Layla's face, kind of, I guess, grab her or whatever. And you see that there is a tear in Rogue's glove. And her pinky just grazes Layla's face. And we all know what happens when Rogue makes skin-on-skin contact. She absorbs their abilities for a short time.
Yes.
She absorbs Layla's ability. And in the process, wakes up, and it didn't seem like it was purposeful. It seemed like it was almost accidental, but wakes up the rest of the Red Guard in the process.
Yeah.
In a way. it's poor Nightcrawler. He's like, what? What, huh? And Toad, he don't really say nothing. He kind of sits there. Mystique's laying on the ground. Logan's kind of on top of her, and she punches him. He's like, do you feel any better? She's like, I think I broke my damn hand. I'm like, probably on his adamantium skull, you probably did. So the Red Guard gets woke up, and again, they're confused. They don't know what the hell's going on. And so they make the decision that they're going to go straight to Magneto and find out where Xavier is. And then we cut to Genosha, to Castle Magnus. And he's talking, Lorna is talking to him, and she's like, Father, are you listening, Father? And he's like, oh, sorry, what? She's like, the guests are about to arrive. You need to be getting ready. The guests are going to arrive. And he says, okay. He says, just give me a minute. And he said, I'll be ready. And we see him walk over to a huge stone, a huge boulder. And it's got a plaque on it. And it says, on the plaque, the Memorial Garden for Charles Xavier. And you're like, whoa, Charles dead?
He dead.
Charles not alive? I'm like, damn. Because again, like I said, this was more or less like a first time read again for me. It'd been so long since I'd read it. I'm like, well, shit. Then we jump to issue 6, and we open with the heroes. They're all, all together now, and they're getting ready to land on the helicarrier. And Agent Drew is, given the commands and everything, hey, blah, 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 all the code words and everything, so they'll be able to land without any problems. Well, you sit there and you look, and you're like, well, how the hell are they all going to get on the helicarrier and not get recognized? Because they're all basically, except for the Red Guard, they're all basically criminals that are being hunted down, or supposed to be hunted down. Well, you find out that Emma uses her powers to basically make them invisible. Mm-hmm. I think, except for the Red Guard, I think it's just, the other ones, Emma and Logan, the rest of them. Make them invisible so nobody else can see them there. And Emma's like, look, we got to go straight to the command deck, and we're going to take this helicarrier to Genosha. So that's what they do. They make their way to the command deck. She gives a command to, I guess he's just a random captain or whatever. Didn't give him his name or anything. And orders him to fly to Genosha. And that's what they do. They take the whole big old helicarrier and head toward Genosha. And at Genosha, we see that some of Magnus's guests have arrived. And the first one to arrive is Victor Von Doom, without a helmet on. His face is nice and handsome and clean shaven and all that stuff like that. So I guess that was maybe his desire, I guess, not to be scarred anymore and have to wear the mask, I guess. I don't know if that was in his somewhere else in the stories or not, maybe at that time, maybe, but he was the first one to show up. And like I said, I wrote in my notes, minus his mask. And we jump back to the helicarrier, and Scott tells everyone, he's like, look, he's like, I know everybody has got these personal restraints that they put on each other, when it comes to fighting, that we don't cross that line. He's like, well, I'm telling you right now, let those restraints go. He says, because this is a win situation for us. If we lose, that's it. This is a win. We have to win this situation. So do what you have to do to win. Don't hold yourself back. And Kitty and Jessica, Drew, they start kind of questioning whether or not they should do this. And everybody's like, well, what do you mean? Why should we do this? We have to set the world straight again. She's like, well, what makes us any different than Magneto and Wanda? What gives us the right to reset stuff again? I mean, people are happy. We were happy, I think, weren't we? What's wrong? Why couldn't we just live here the way that it is? And Logan basically looks at Drew. He's like, you're going to be really embarrassed that you said that out loud. And Drew's like, why? She's like, I think I was pretty happy. I think you were happy. He's like, no, I remembered everything. He's like, no, it didn't work on me. He's like, I remembered everything. And of course she keeps talking, and she basically is saying that this might be what makes mutants the next dominant species. And that maybe this is the natural progression of what would happen between mutants and humans. And Logan's like, that's the second thing you're going to be embarrassed about that you said out loud. He's like, no, we can't keep this going. And Emma's like, yeah, look, we have to try. We've got to try. We've got to try to find Xavier, and we've got to put the world back. She's like, for everything that the world was screwed up, she said, at least it was the right way. She said, at least it was...
It was screwed up right.
Well, she's basically saying at least it was real. This is fake. She's like, this is something that Wanda did. She said, yeah, everybody might be happy, but it's not real. The emotions aren't real. The feelings aren't real. At least the world might have been screwed all to hell, but she said, at least it was real. And we have to at least do that. Try to put it back to, to reality, the real reality. And so Scott says we're going to have 3 teams. And everybody's like, why 3 teams? He says, this is why. He's like, we need Emma, Layla, and Cloak to try to go find Xavier. Then Doctor Strange is going to take a team, or actually just ends up being himself, and he's going to see if he can talk to Wanda on the astral plane, see if he can find out what's going on and why she did what she did. And Team 3 is basically going to be me and everybody else keeping Magneto busy while we do this, because they may not know exactly who's coming, but I have a feeling that they know something's about to happen. So their guard might be up. So then we go back to Genosha and we see more guests that are showing up. Now, I don't know this one, and you might know this one. Genis Vale from the Kree Empire.
I'm not familiar with that character.
Because I thought the face was cool. It's almost like it was space with stars, kind of for the face of the character. Let's see who else we have. Princess Aurora, or Storm, from Kenya. And King Namor, not Prince Namor, King Namor from Atlantis.
Were they married in this? I can't remember. I know at one point they got married, but I don't know if
I don't think they were in this. If they were, they came in separately.
Okay.
On the for the party.
That's right. It was later. It was after this.
Her and Black Panther married at this time, or was that after this? I wonder.
Oh, you said Namor. I was thinking Black Panther.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, Namor. Yeah, Namor.
My bad.
Well, no. Well, didn't he hook up with somebody?
They probably all hooked up with somebody at some point.
Probably Rogue or something. I don't know. But
she got around.
I was going to say, poor Gambit. But so then we get a big 2-page spread of the House of Magnus. And it's Magneto sitting in the middle on his throne with his grandkids on his lap. And then we've got Pietro and Lorna and Wanda on each of his sides. Beautiful artwork. Beautiful page. Big splash. And then all of a sudden, one of those big, nice sentinels that I talked about last episode just starts hurtling down toward the Castle Magnus from the helicarrier. Well, of course, Lorna and Magneto stop it because they both, magnetic powers. But what they didn't realize, and what surprised me again, rereading this again, was basically it's a Trojan horse. It's holding Scott and Logan and everybody else in it. That's how they got there. Was it basically they use that Sentinel as a Trojan horse. So they jump out, they start attacking, they start fighting. And as the fight is going on, Emma's doing what she's supposed to be doing. Her and Layla and Cloak are going around the grounds trying to figure out if they can find Xavier, if they can locate him. And they come upon the memorial stone. And Emma's crushed. She's like, oh no. And she's basically just give up all hope. She's just like, oh God, if he's dead, then there's no hope. You know, he's the only one that might be able to help us. And Cloak's like, just wait a minute. So Cloak phases into the ground, and then he comes back up a few minutes later, and he's like, there's nothing down there. There's no body. There's no casket. There's nothing. Xavier's still alive, and he's somewhere. He's like, this ain't over yet. And Emma's just like, oh. And I thought that was cool that Cloak kind of had the thought to say, wait a minute, I can phase through stuff by like Kitty. He's like, let me go see. He's like, they ain't shit down here. And he's like, he alive somewhere, but he ain't here though. And jump into issue 7, and it's picking right up from where 6 ended. The big fight with the heroes and Magneto's forces. And we see that Pietro is holding Wanda, but it's weird. It's not really Wanda because you see her start to crumble away in his arms. And he yells, what did you do to my sister? And he starts taking off, and he's going toward Rogue. And she's kind of high up on some rubble, so he just zoom, you see the artwork of him running. And then we'll cut to Doctor Strange, and he's made his way. He's on the astral plane, I believe, because he's kind of like a red glow around his body. And he's made his way to the real Wanda. And he's like, well, I'm glad to see you're okay. She's like, well, why wouldn't I be? He's like, I just kind of seen your body disappear down there. She's like, oh, no. She's like, that wasn't me. That wasn't my real body. She's like, that's just something that I do because, Dad likes to have me around. She's like, I'm not going to leave my babies. I always stay with my babies. I do that for Magneto's sake. And he's basically trying to find out why she did what she did and what's going on. And he shows her the outside. He's like, you don't go outside? She's like, no, I don't really go outside. I stay here with the kids. And he shows her the outside, and he shows her the fighting. And she's like, and she gets distressed a little bit. And one of the kids is like, Mommy, are you sad? She's like, no. She's like, I guess more kind of depressed in a way. She's like, this is why I did all this, because to stop people from fighting. She's like, but no matter what I do, people are always fighting. It never stops. She's like, I try to make everybody happy, give them everything that they wanted, but they still are fighting. She's like, I just don't understand. And Strange is talking to her, and he is able to basically kind of tap into her memories and see her memories, because she's like, well, he just done it to try to protect me. He loves me. He tried to protect me. And you find out that Magneto had nothing to do with it, because you see the memory from the first issue when Pietro is beside her crying. He's on the floor. He's begging Magneto to help. And he's like, I just came back from Avengers Tower. And he said, I believe they're going to come kill Wanda. He's like, you got to help me. We got to protect her. And then that's when he was saying, what would you have me do? He's like, well, you're her father. You've got to protect us. And he's like, they're going to kill her. And he's like, maybe they should. And Pietro's like, why would you say that? We're your children. Why would you say that she deserves to die? And then that's when we see that Doctor Strange discovers, he sees it, and he's like, oh my God, it wasn't Magneto. It was Pietro. And that's when, then in the comic, we cut back to him outside, like it just shows him whatever when Doctor Strange makes that revelation. And basically what it was is Pietro tells Wanda that Magneto is not going to help. He's always ruined their lives, basically. He's never really been there for them. And, they loved being Avengers. They loved being heroes. He's like, but they're going to come get you. They're going to come kill you. And I don't think I can do anything about it. I don't think I can save you. He's like, but if you were to make them happy and give them everything they wanted, he's like, they'll leave you alone and we can live in peace. And Doctor Strange is like, oh no, we got this all wrong. It's not Magneto. Because everybody thinks it's Magneto. And he tries to ask her where Xavier is. And before she can answer, which I don't know if she was going to, she might have. But before she was able to answer, we see that she gets shot square in the middle of the back with an arrow.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, all right then.
You know where that came from.
Yeah, know where that got her. And Magneto appears at the memorial, and he's like, who are you and why are you here? And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You don't know who Emma is? Well, maybe Wanda made you forget some people, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. And his hands are glowing because he's, getting ready to use his powers. Layla wakes him up, makes him remember everything. And Magneto, it was good and it was great artwork. Magneto is pissed at Pietro because he finds out what happened. He is taking, I assume, parts of the Sentinel, and he is just pounding Pietro into the ground. He is hitting him with every bit of force I think he could use. And he's like, I can't believe you did this. He said, what you did in my name, I cannot believe. He's like, I would not have allowed this to happen. He said, you used both me and your sister to do this. He's like, how could you? And he just keeps pounding him and keeps pounding him. And Wanda sees this and she screams and kind of knocks Magneto away, if I remember right. I think kind of knocks him away. And she's holding Pietro in her arms, and you see this big pool of blood like beside his head. And I'm like, fuck, Magneto killed him. Or almost killed him. Like, cause Magneto was he was completely unhinged. And I get it. I totally understand.
Magneto was right.
Magneto was on the right side this time. I agree. And so Pietro, like I said, he's being held by Wanda, and she starts talking to Magneto, and she's like, you've always, you've ruined our lives ever since we were children. She's like, you've used us for your vision of controlling humanity and controlling the planet. We broke away from you for a little while from the Avengers, but somehow you always got us to come back. But you've never been a true father. You've never really cared about us. You only cared for what you could do with our powers and with our abilities. And she's like, you're a monster. She's like, you're not a father. You're a monster. She's like, and for you to think that we are gods or that we are superior is crazy. She's like, no, we're not. She's like, we are far from being God. She's like, if anything, we're freaks. We're monsters just like you are. And she said, you chose your vision. You chose all these other mutants over your children. And she's like, you know what? And Emma's like, no, don't do it. And Wanda says, no more mutants. And there's a huge flash of white light once again.
I do gotta say that that scene where it shows like her putting the person like as a puzzle. That's like one of the coolest artworks pieces I've ever seen.
That was good. That was real good. I like that a lot. Yeah, because I skipped over it and I apologize. That's like Shaun was talking about the puzzle pieces. That's what she does to Hawkeye. Because there's a moment in there when she's like, why are you mad at me for? He's like, why? You killed me. Why would I not be mad? She's like, but I love you. How can you say you love me when you killed me? And he keeps yelling at her. And through her manifestation of her child, her son, the son screams, basically, stop, leave my mommy alone. And after that, he's made into little puzzle pieces and he disappears.
It was so cool visually.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what happened to her fake body outside too. But to see it happen because you have like a solid Hawkeye and you just start seeing it fade away. Yeah. It's awesome looking artwork. I agree. So, excuse me. So as I said, issue 7 ends with a huge explosion of white light once again, just like we saw at the end of issue number 1. And we open with issue 8 to a very peaceful cityscape. It's, you got a pretty horizon, all the buildings, birds are flying. It's early morning. The sun's starting to rise. And we see inside of Layla's apartment, and she's in bed, and she's waking up. And I'm assuming it's a mom or dad. It's one of her parents. Yells at her and says, "Layla, you're going to be late for school if you don't get your lazy butt out of bed." So she gets out of bed and she looks out the window, and that's when you get to see the nice, peaceful, city. And Parker wakes up, and MJ's next to him, and she's reading a newspaper and drinking a cup of coffee. And I think it said, I could be mistaken, but I think it said in the upper corner, it said Avengers Tower. So was he living there at the time, maybe? I think it said Avengers Tower. I could have sworn that's what it said.
Well, remember the mansion was destroyed, so the tower is new. So I don't know what.
I was going to, but I just wondered if he was living there because maybe he didn't have an apartment, or because I don't remember where Spidey's story was at this time. If Aunt May was still alive, or what was going on then, I forgot.
I don't.
This was 05, 06, so I forget.
It was, 05. I want to say he had his own apartment because this was before they got. Was it before they got married, or?
It doesn't say, and I couldn't recognize a ring on her finger. Maybe it's just one of those things where it's a clubhouse and they all got their own rooms as well as real homes, I guess, maybe. Maybe that's what it was.
We need to do further research. Everybody's yelling at us right now.
Stop yelling. So he wakes up at Avengers Tower, and MJ, like I said, she's sitting next to him with a cup of coffee, reading the newspaper. And she's like, "Peter, are you okay?" And, he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm all right." He's like, got a headache." He's like, "Well, maybe if you quit letting those big, heavy, tentacle robots fall on your head all the time." She's like, "Maybe you won't have a headache." He's like, yeah, you're probably right. And then he walks away. And you see them all sitting around the table, and Parker's just like, "What the hell is happening?" He's like, "First, this was going on. Then I wake up and Gwen's alive. Then now find out that I was all fake. And now we're here." It's like, are we back? Is it fixed? What's going on? And he's pounding the table. And he's cracking, he's breaking the table. And Tony, in his Iron Man armor, he kind of walks toward him. He's like, "Whoa, wait." Luke Cage's like, "You can buy another table. It's okay. Just let him have his moment." Because earlier, before Wanda did what she did, Scott said, "Look, you guys can have your nervous breakdowns later. We've got to do what we got to do." And Peter's like, "I volunteer to be the first one to have a nervous breakdown when we're done." Yep. He's like, "I volunteer to be the first one to have a nervous breakdown." So they're all back together. Luke looks around. He's like, "Did you remember?" "Yeah." "Do you still remember?" "Yeah." "You?" "Yeah." "Colossus?" "Huh? What? What? Huh?" And you find out that Doctor Strange basically has come to the realization that apparently the ones that were protected by his and Emma's powers kept the memories of the altered reality. But everybody else has no memory of it whatsoever. Basically, their memory stopped when the white light flashed. And now it's like nothing happened. Like just boom, boom, it picked right back up. And of course, Strange is blaming himself. He's basically like, "Look, this is my job to protect, the world from stuff like this." And he's like, "I totally failed. I was not able to protect the planet from any of this." And everybody's like, "It was Wanda though. We kind of, I don't know how strong you are, but And then we get to Xavier's school, and we're outside, and we're looking at the lawn, and Emma is laying down on the lawn, and she's woken up by multiple screams of "no!" People just screaming "no" from inside the mansion. She goes running, and she gets inside the mansion, and she's found out that a majority, if not all, of the young students have lost their powers. They're not mutants anymore. They don't have their powers anymore. And apparently some of the X-Men also, like I said, don't remember what happened. I jumped ahead there for a second. They don't remember what happened. Like Colossus doesn't remember. I forgot who else. I think he's the main one it shows. And they're all talking, and Scott's like, "Oh shit, what about Logan? If he ain't got his powers, the Adamantium's going to kill him." He's like, Kurt, go find him. So Nightcrawler's like, poof, 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 poof. He's all over the mansion. Well, he gets outside and he finds Logan laying next to the Blackbird on the ground. Logan jumps up. He's like, "I remember everything about my life. Everything." And he just got that look on his face. But he's fine. He's got his powers. He's fine. Then we see Emma run. Now, okay, now this is a question I hope you can answer to me because I couldn't remember this. Cerebra. Why was it not Cerebro? Do you remember that? Why?
Oh, God.
Okay. It didn't say. It just, I noticed it said Emma was going to Cerebra, and I'm like, I thought it was Cerebro.
Yeah. It may be called both. Well, again.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, that's fine, dude.
It's been a while, but.
Okay, that's fine, dude. I'm just curious. I didn't know. But, so Emma runs to Cerebra, and she puts the helmet on, and she's trying to locate the mutants, and see if she can locate the mutants around the world. And basically she discovers that the number of the mutants that are on the world have dropped dramatically. She said there was tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of mutants around the world. And Scott and Beast, oh, I forgot to say Beast he's finally showed up. And this is still the, kind of the cat-like looking Beast. This one did. He still had his cat look to him.
This is your Astonishing X-Men Beast.
There you go. I forgot. I was thinking which one it was. Astonishing X-Men. That's it.
It was that book and New Avengers that kind of went into this book.
That was was that Grant Morrison?
No. It was, Josh Whedon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. But yeah, this was the feline Beast. And I was like, oh, cool, feline Beast. I was like, I forgot about him being in this era. And so, but she's like, look, this is all the mutants are all left on the planet. And it shows just a few dots spread out here and there, here and there. And Scott says, well, are they dead? Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so Cerebro is a replacement after a battle had happened.
Okay, so Cerebro got destroyed, basically, and this is just number two.
But Cassandra did use it. It just wasn't her that put it there.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool, awesome. So Scott says, are they dead? And Emma's like, not as far as I can tell. She's like, they're just not mutants anymore. They don't have their powers anymore. And I'm like, well, now, if they was up in space, they probably dead now.
Well.
There's
that.
Yeah, But she says, and Beast comes over her shoulder. He's like, where is Charles? Where's Xavier at? Can you locate him? And she just says, he isn't ... Mm-hmm. That's all she says. And then you see poor Bobby, Iceman, bless his heart. He's coming out of a room and he's lost his powers. And he's sweating or he's just wet. I don't know. But he's just like, oh, so it ain't just me. I just thought it was super hot around here. I was like, oh, poor Bobby. Bless him. He lost his powers. Then we see the X-Men and the Avengers are watching the news. And all these various news outlets are reporting what's happened. Oh, thousands of people that used to be mutants no longer have their powers. They're not mutants anymore. They're, normal human beings now. And oh my gosh, is it a conspiracy? Was it the government? Was it a virus? Was it aliens? We just don't know what's happening. And then, of course, we see William Stryker. And this was born-again Christian William Stryker, basically.
I forgot about that.
Basically, and he says, the cleansing has begun. And what God has started, mankind will finish. And Captain America looks at Iron Man. He's like, shut this shit off. He's like, turn it off. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Because this would have been the comics version of like Friends of Humanity that they had in the cartoon series, maybe? X-Men cartoon series?
I guess so.
Or, yeah, not Brotherhood, but yeah, Friends of Humanity.
Yeah, Friends of Humanity.
But yeah, I was like, oh, there's religious Stryker. There he is. So, after all that happens, and everything, Iron Man gets a notification, and they're like, look at him, they're like, well, what's going on? And he's like, somebody's at the mansion. And they're like, the mansion's destroyed. There shouldn't be anybody there. He's like, well, there's an alert. Somebody's there. So they all go to the mansion, and you see it's still in rubble and still in ruin from what happened from Wanda's attack. And on a wall, one of the few walls that's still left standing on the mansion, you see Hawkeye's costume, and it's pinned to the wall with arrows. And next to it, also stuck to the wall, is a newspaper clipping about his death. And Ms. Marvel, she's like, what does this mean? Who could have did this? And you've got Cap and Iron Man kind of just like, I don't know. Just like they're looking at each other like, I don't know. And Ms. Marvel, she's like, well, what does this mean for us? And that's it. That's the scene. That's all you get out of that scene, you know. Then we see the X-Men, and they go back to Genosha because they're going to question Magneto and find out what he knows, because they still believe he knows more than he's letting on. And before they get there, we see Magneto walking around, and he sees a fork laying on the ground. And he tries to move it. He can't move it. So Magneto has apparently lost his powers as well.
That was devastating when I read that.
I can see how, being a Magneto fan, first reading this, man, how that would have got to you, for sure. Like, one of the most powerful mutants on the planet, you know? And you can see it in his face. The artwork that Olivier did, you can see it in his face.
You can.
And so they attack, well, I don't say they attack him. Logan pounces on him, pops the claws. And he's asking him, he's like, where's Xavier? I don't know. Where's Wanda? I don't know. Where's Pietro? I don't know. I don't know where anybody's at. Just basically like, just leave me alone. And I think Logan was going to kill him. And Scott kind of like, don't know. Don't kill him. And Logan was like, yeah, you know what? You living a long life as a sapien is more of a punishment than me killing you. And they leave. They leave him alone. And we end our story with, you don't see it, but it's little word bubbles. And it is Henry Pym, and he is on a talk show, basically. And he is being questioned about what is his opinion on what's happened. And he is basically saying, well, he's like, let me say this. What kind of effect on our planet and our universe is this sudden change in the mutant population going to have? He's like, nobody can answer that. I can't answer that. He's like, because nothing like this has ever happened before on the face of the planet. He's like, but, he said, I'll say this. He says, this is Newton's third law of physics. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And let me ask you this. What will be the reaction, and when will it happen? And we end with a picture in space with the planet Earth. And to the right-hand side, it may mean nothing, but to me, I saw like a cluster of energy, like right off to the side of the planet, like out hovering in space. And it's basically, that's the end for now. That's how House of M ends. And then now Shaun is going to let us know what happened in the aftermath of House of M.
Okay, so there's a lot, and we'll just kind of skim a lot of it, but I was going hardcore into comics when this happened.
Right.
So the first thing that came after was there was this Decimation one-shot that Chris Claremont put out.
Ooh, okay.
And it kind of set up some books like the new Excalibur book. Other books that spawned from this was, like, you remember where Wolverine said he remember everything?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you get this Wolverine Origins, like, miniseries, and it shows his entire life. It's the first time they go into that.
Oh,
it's because of House of M.
Okay.
Okay. You also get, there's a book called the 198, because they estimated 198, but there's like way more mutants.
Say, you let me borrow that too. It was like a miniseries too, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
That miniseries, they had a miniseries called Sentinel Squad 1, or something along those lines, where the Sentinels were protecting the mutants.
Okay.
Where they were endangered at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sentinels were man.
Oh, so they're like mechs. They had people inside of them. Okay, got you. Okay.
So they had that going on. You had let's see. There was a good Shield book that was going on then.
There was also Son of M.
Son of Him, that's a big one.
The Pietro.
Yeah, it was his story about getting back with his child.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, they were on the moon. I forget the name of the child.
I was going to say, I don't remember either.
He married into, was it the Inhumans?
Yeah, the Inhumans. Yeah, okay.
So all that's going on. Because Pietro had lost his powers too, but...
And does he use the Terrigen Mist to try to get him back?
Yeah.
Because later on in Marvel, several years ago, they did a story with them fighting them. I didn't forgot.
That's racist.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't forgot. But you find out that the Terrigen Mist supposedly is fatal to mutants. Mm-hmm. But this was way before this story came out. But
it's fatal to mutants, but he didn't have his powers. It was almost like a drug that enhanced him.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
I forgot about that happening. Yeah.
So he's kind of used that in the background, and he's making him sick and all that stuff. But all right, so you get through the decimation, and the way House of M is, it's the first part of a giant trilogy. Mm. Okay, so the next part is Messiah Complex.
Yeah, buddy, I remember that cable.
Which the main premise of that story is that there's a new mutant born. That's the first time that it happens.
Yep.
Since all these powers were taken away. Well, the new mutant's name is Hope. And of course, they're going to do Cable as the Terminator, try to get the baby, and they're trying to...
He's her daddy.
Okay.
Hope Summers.
So you get the Messiah War from that. You get the Necrosha storyline, the Utopia storyline, the Curse of the Mutant storyline. Well, eventually, Hope and Cable, they have, there's a Cable miniseries that shows them traveling around and him raising her and all that stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. I may own that, I don't remember.
Okay, well, one of Hope's powers, it turns out, is she can restore the powers of mutants.
Oh, I forgot about that, yeah.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
So, Second Coming
is
the third part of the trilogy where she comes back and they kind of...
Gotcha.
Set the status quo, but you also had the Phoenix come back during this time.
Okay.
And that thing of energy, I believe that's what that was referencing.
Oh, okay.
Because you had the Phoenix War Song series, I believe, came out.
Okay.
Right after House of M and all that stuff. And that's where Jean Grey, she was trapped in the White Hot Room for all those years after she died.
Yeah,
It was similar to like the Green Lantern, or not the Green Lantern, the Flash story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, where they were trapped in Speed Force. Mm-hmm. Barry was,
So she comes back, and I believe it was either during Second Coming or right before or right after, where she was mentoring Hope and all this kind of stuff.
Okay. Right.
Kind of, because it was almost led to believe like Hope was like a...
reincarnation?
Either a reincarnation or a lost child or some kind of like... relation to her.
They definitely drew her to resemble Jean quite a bit, for sure. Yeah.
They did. And like I said, this set up a good, 15, 20 years of comics. Because after this, you had the Schism and Age of X and the Dark Angel, AVX, Battle of the Atom, Black Vortex, the Trial of Jean Grey. It just kept going.
I was going to say, I collected the AVX stuff. I feel like I might have had Schism, but I don't know if I did or not. But I did have AVX, though.
Schism is where Xavier shows back up.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And then then later on, the Phoenix power goes into the X-Men.
Yeah.
Scott kills Xavier. Yeah, all that
stuff.
All that later on shit, yeah.
So, I mean...
And then at some point, Scott gets killed because of the Terrigen Mist, and you find out that Emma was portraying him, but Scott had actually died, but then he comes back and blah, blah, blah.
That was a mess, but...
It was a mess. X-Men's always a mess sometimes, man. It really is.
But when it hits, House of M, Messiah Complex, and Second Coming, if you only read three modern-ish X-Men stories, those are the three to read.
Yeah. When X-Men hit it like this, there's no comparison. It's some of the best storytelling you're going to read in comic books, in my opinion. But they have their misses as well, I'm sure. I don't know all of them. I haven't read a lot of X-Men, but like Shaun said, House of M and Messiah and all that stuff like that, those are major points and probably some of the best X-Men stories you're going to find out there, probably.
Mm-hmm. They are. I mean, this would be like the more current, Days of Future Past and Phoenix Saga and Age of Apocalypse type stuff, Oh,
yeah. I mean, those were huge. Mm-hmm. Those were huge stories in the 90s for sure, yeah. And then, of course, it spawned what? We had 3 books. God, no more than 3 books. But you had 3 color team books. You had X-Men Gold and Blue and Red. Hope was a leader of, I think it was Team Red or something like that. Didn't she eventually, did she leave? Like go back into the future and disappear or leave or? Oh no, that was when then they did the whole thing with the first X-Men coming.
Yeah, back
to
from the past.
Try to stop Scott from doing, because basically Scott became a villain.
Yeah,
for a while, and Magneto joined the X-Men and was like, "You're becoming me.
Yeah,
you're becoming me."
That's actually a pretty good story.
That was a good story.
That one,
but then I want to say she might have either went back with the original X-Men or something that happened. I forget now. That's probably been about 15 years ago, give or take. But yeah. I mean, if you can't tell from us talking about it and gushing about it, you know, it's great.
This
House
is
of
my
M,
favorite book.
Yeah, this is Shaun's top X-Men story right here. And it's great. It's a really good story. I'm so glad we got to cover it because it was awesome rereading this 8 issues. Like I said, it's like a first time read again. I'm just like, damn. You know, and it makes you feel emotions for Magneto because you see in his face all the shit that he's done up to this point. When he loses his powers, you see it in his face. Like, he is devastated, you know. So it makes you feel for Magneto a little bit, for sure.
Yeah, it does.
It does, for sure.
Oh, and you get the great Magneto Testament comic. It's a miniseries. It shows his journey during World War II.
Ooh,
that is a great comic. We'll have to cover that one day.
Hell yeah.
All right, so I guess we obviously recommend this.
Oh, for sure.
We already talked about prices. It's like $6 to $8 an issue.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Not for this. I'd pay that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
All
Definitely.
Right. Do you have questions first or anything? I know we got this email or whatever, but
let me think real quick. No, I don't think I had any kind of questions or history or anything other than, like I said last episode. Dustin's from Flicks and Friends. He just said Magneto was right. I agree. He was.
Magneto's always right.
This time Magneto was right. But we also have a email from. Is this from Derrick? The one from Derrick?
Yes.
Okay. From Derrick from Bad Movies Worst People, and we're gonna play it right now and see what his history is with House of M.
Hey, Dan, Shaun, and Geeks with Beards listeners. This is Derrick from the Bad Movies Worst People podcast. Also, Han Took Shots First podcast. If you're a Star Wars person, check that out too. Dan had asked for anybody who wanted to give some insights into, their thoughts or feelings on House of M. And he's asked a couple times, and I keep saying I'll do stuff, and then I run out of time because I'm a bad person. It's in the name of the podcast. But this time I had to do something because I love House of M. So instead of just sending him a little paragraph, I thought I'd make a little recording. I went through and read House of M again recently. It's been a while, but it's probably the 7th or 8th time I've read it. I don't reread comics a lot, but this is one I always liked. It came out right around the time that I started getting back into comic books. I really got back in around Civil War. I went back and read Avengers Disassembled, House of M, all this stuff. And I think the thing that struck me really early on with House of M was it seems so ambitious. Now, again, I had been out of reading comics. I had read some growing up, mostly just like some Spider-Man, X-Men. But just to have an event like this that like drastically alters the entire world of your like entire, comic book line, your entire universe you've created. Now it doesn't seem so outlandish because DC and Marvel have rebooted and New 52'd and all this stuff, 100 times in the last 20 years. But at the time, just reading this story that just like, starting with Avengers Disassembled where Wanda kills a bunch of Avengers and just does these like world altering events that makes the entire planet see superheroes and especially mutants differently. And then going into House of M where she literally, like, they are on the verge of deciding to murder one of their friends. And of course, you've got your people who are going to always be staunchly against that, Captain America, Spider-Man. But then you've got your like pragmatic people like Iron Man and Emma Frost who are like, no, this is trouble. Fuck it. Let's kill her. So she just like rewrites the entire world to give everybody everything that they want, supposedly. It's insane. And of course, Wolverine is going to be the one who isn't tricked by it. He remembers everything because what did he always want? To fucking remember everything. So it's an insane thing to do, to just upend this entire world. you get to see some of these really tragic stories like Spider-Man, Peter Parker. He's got Gwen, he's got a family, he's got his Uncle Ben, he's got a child, he's Spider-Man in some capacity. We don't get too deep into that, but like, he's mostly living a normal life. And to just be like awakened to the fact that this is not a real world, like his story is just so heartbreaking and devastating, but that's par for the course with Spider-Man, of course. And, they going through waking up all these heroes and even some that aren't necessarily heroes like Toad and stuff and, Mystique, and trying to get the world back to the way it is or way it was. And, you've got people saying maybe that's not so bad the way it is right now. We're all happy but now you're not going to be happy because you've been awoken. And I don't remember where everything goes in the end, with Layla and all the stuff. I'm trying to remember. I think Layla ends up being maybe part of the Cable X-Force storyline, the Mutant Messiah and all that stuff, but that might be a different girl. I'm sorry guys, it's been a long time. But it's just, this sets up years and years and years and years of storytelling. They come back with this, well, before they come back, just having Lord Magneto in charge of everything, and he knows something is up. Like, you can tell he's got his brooding thing. He's like, something's not right here. And it turns out that Pietro and Wanda worked together to do this, and they used Xavier and all that. And we get back to the world with her decree of no more mutants, and there's hardly any mutants left. And of course, that goes away after a while. But you just kind of reset the world. All these mutants are gone. A lot of heroes don't know what happened, but a lot do. Xavier is missing. And if I'm not mistaken, that plays into like he's in space at some point with Vulcan. I don't remember. I loved the cosmic stuff. If you guys do cosmic stuff, I'll come on and ramble some more. But I just, you guys have recapped the story. I'm just talking about the things that really affected me. It was just such a mind-blowing thing to just like alter your entire 50 plus year history for this epically told story with, and this artwork. I'm not going to pronounce the guy's name right, but Oliver Copiel. It's probably wrong. The artwork in this is amazing. I know Brian Michael Bendis has haters out there, but again, because I started reading around Civil War and House of M, so New Avengers and all that, Bendis was kind of one of the main guys I read a lot of. I appreciated a lot of his stuff. I know there was times where he left a lot of threads hanging, but then he would come up with stuff like Secret Invasion to tie all that together. And, I just wanted to come on here and talk about House of M a little bit. I really don't know what I'm saying. I didn't have anything too prepared. I read through this whole thing in one sitting and just kind of had a flood of things happening in my head. And wanted to contribute to you guys. I like what you're doing here, talking about comic books. We talk about movies. There's a lot of people talking about movies. There's not nearly as many people talking about comic books, especially older stuff, which is crazy to say that House of M is older stuff, but it is old enough to drink now, which makes me feel old. But yeah, I loved this book. It was one of the things that got me back into comics for a long time. And I pretty much stuck with Marvel through thick and thin up until right around the time Hickman's Avengers was coming out. I really enjoyed his storylines, but I feel like Marvel had a propensity to cut Jonathan Hickman off at the knees and not let him finish his stories the way he wanted to. And when they did their whole reset thing, that's kind of the only thing I followed was Hickman's Avengers. I didn't care about, I don't need to learn all this new stuff. I studied up on 50 years of history and he went and wiped it all out. I don't know. All that to say, I really love House of M. I love having the opportunity to send this to you guys to post on your episode. I hope I didn't ramble too long. Please feel free to edit some of it out. And, let your listeners know. Come check us out at Bad Movies, Worst People. You can find us anywhere you get podcasts. We talk about movies. We make inappropriate jokes. We embarrass our parents. And we say stuff you wouldn't want people to hear you listening to most of the time. Thank you guys for the opportunity, and I'll see you next time.
Well, thank you, Derek. That was awesome.
That was, man. And the check's in the mail. We'll see.
Yeah, right.
No, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, you probably know, you and Shaun both know way more about Marvel and the X-Men and stuff like that than I do for sure. This was probably, like he said and you've said, this was probably the first time since, Age of Apocalypse that they'd done a huge event for the X-Men, probably?
Well, it wasn't just X-Men.
Well, no, but
like the whole universe.
Yeah, but it'd probably been Age of Apocalypse since that, was the last time they'd done it probably before this, was it not?
Yeah, as far as like any kind of thing similar.
Huge one, yeah.
This is like a crisis type story.
Yeah.
Which Marvel didn't do a lot. And it was cool because it gave you like a fresh start without it being a fresh start. Like they didn't wipe away everything.
Right.
But it's like a brand new story for you to just jump into.
Right, yeah.
And you just need to know like basics. As long as you know who Magneto and Scarlet Witch are,
yeah,
you're good.
True. I mean, really, when you boil it down, it's basically they took away most of the mutant that you had known for, like he said, almost 50 years. Some, of course, they're going to take them all away because you still have to have characters with powers to sell comics and make stories, but they did wipe quite a few of them away.
That was probably a good thing, too, because like once you've had so many years, you need to kind of tidy up a bit.
Yeah, kind of cut down on the roster a little while there for,
Because like during Grant Morrison's run, the whole Genosha thing, they cut like mutants in half, and then this cut it like in half again.
Yeah, for sure. That's for sure. And I mean, hey, you get Messiah Complex, you get my boy Cable being superhero.
They should get Bishop.
Yeah, he trying to kill Hope, man. I think he was. Was he not trying to kill her? Something. Damn it, I forgot. He was after her. And
we're going to have to cover that too.
Yeah, and Cable was protecting her or whatever. But yeah, Derek, thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
We appreciate your contributions. We always want you to have something to say.
And I'm glad he mentioned Vulcan because that was like one of my favorite miniseries.
I forgot about Vulcan.
Yeah.
I was thinking he was with the Shi'ar or something, but I forgot about Vulcan. Though.
I know they find him on an island. Oh, that was it. I don't know if it's Krakoa or one of the other islands.
I don't remember.
But
I can't remember now.
Anyway,
because now he's the other Summers brother, right?
He's the third Summers boy.
So is he the oldest? Was it him, Scott, then Alex?
I don't recall.
I don't remember neither. You told me about Vulcan, like you were super heavy into Vulcan.
I was,
and I forgot.
Like that was a good series.
It was.
For our notes, Ms. Maximoff, can you please state your name and confirm your status?
Wanda Maximoff, volunteer.
Wanda and Pietro Maximoff, twins.
I had a brother. His name was Pietro.
So, I think we've said about all we can say about the House of M. Next episode, we're going to dive into one of our listener requests, and it's going to come from Dirty Old Pete. I love you, Pete. He sent in a couple, and we have decided to pick Shogun Warriors from 1979. And we're going to read issue 1. It had a total run from February of 1979 to September of 1980 by Marvel Comics. It only had 20 issues, and it was a monthly ongoing series. So we're going to read number 1. I've already started it a little bit, and it's actually pretty cool. I remember the Shogun Warrior toys. They were like huge. God, I don't know, almost 2 foot tall, like plastic toys, that had a little missile fire and spring-loaded missiles. They did a Godzilla toy and dude, these toys are super expensive now. Right. These original toys are super expensive. But what little bit I've read, I really enjoy it. So, thank you, Pete, and everybody else that sent us in requests. Please send in more. We'll try, to sprinkle them in here and there. But we're going to hit Shogun Warriors number 1 from 1979. And this is a first-time read for me, first-time read for Shaun. So we'll see what Shaun thinks about it. So yeah, if you want to reach us, just like Derrick did, we have an email, geekswithbeardspod@gmail.com. We also have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. We also have a Discord that's free. Jump on. We got a new member, Garrett, or Argonus Prime, joined our Discord recently. I know him from APDC podcast. He's a cool cat. Then we also have our YouTube channel where our audio episodes are up for your listening pleasure. We also do toy reviews, which we're going to get back into those here in the near future. We also have my little thing that I do called Dan's Comic Corner, where it's me talking for 7-8 minutes about current comics that I'm collecting, and it's only on YouTube. And any of the videos on there, whether it's just our audio episodes or our toy reviews or my Comic Corner videos, please leave comments below what you think about them. You know, you have any childhood memories of these characters or these toys that we cover, or, you know, any opinions whatsoever. Please let us know. We're available on all podcast platforms that's out there. 5-star rating if you feel like we deserve it, please. A review on Apple if you so please. And I think that's about it, man, unless you got anything to add to it. Nope. Just nope. We're done. It was a busy night at work, guys. Nope. All right, guys. We're going to leave it there. And until next time, guys, have a good one.
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's
Geeks with Beards. Podcast.